Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Well, today is an anniversary that many of us won't soon forget. It was 50 years ago that the ore carrier Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior, pretty close to Whitefish Bay in the southeast part of the lake. We'll talk more about that here in just a little bit, but I do want to talk about weather because we got a big lake effect event going on. Fortunately, that's missing most of West Michigan, but we're waking up to a chilly morning with temperatures down in the low to mid 20s in most areas. It's cold enough that there could be some icy spots out there, so beware of that here during the early morning. And this, by the way, is the coldest day that we've had here in West Michigan since the beginning of March. So it is kind of chilly out there. There's a look at snowfall. So far, as I record this, South Bend's up to 7 inches, so they're getting it down in parts of northern Indiana and the Chicago area. Freeland is over by Saginaw. They had 6 inches, including a boost of bay effect snow off of Saginaw Bay. The 3 inches in Berrien County was at Buchanan. Kalamazoo picked up about 2 inches, nearly that in Grand Ledge. I had an inch here in Comstock Park. And officially in Grand Rapids, yesterday's total was just about 1/4 of an inch, so not much. But there is sure a lot of snow to talk about. Off to the north is where some heavier snow has occurred too, and that would be up in the Upper Peninsula, and more on that here in just a little bit. In terms of additional snowfall, there won't be much for West Michigan. The best bet for additional snowfall will come as a lake effect band shifts back to the east. And that would be late in the day down in Berrien County. There may be some snow right along the lakeshore, the points out there, Big and Little Sable Point. And also with a northeast wind, there'll continue to be a little bit of snow coming off of Saginaw Bay. But we're missing the big stuff. Let's move on to the next slide here, and we'll show you what's going on. First of all, some lake effect snow in northern lower Michigan. Best chance of snow in the lakeshore counties there, western Leelanau, western Benzie County may pick up some additional snow. But again, the heaviest band of snow looks like it will miss most of northern lower Michigan. Okay, on to talk more about what's going on up toward the UP. We have in the pink counties, those are winter storm warnings for up to 6 to 12 inches of snow. About 1 to 6 inches in some of those purple areas there. But that area from Marquette over to Munising and Grand Marais should be seeing the most snow. Now, even up in the UP, this is all going to melt. It's not going to be here forever. So if you like snow, enjoy it while you got it. All right, a little bit on the snowfall that they've had up there in the UP, and they've had a lot of it. 4 miles north of Negaunee was a report there of about 11 inches. Scandia with about 8 inches. The National Weather Service office in Marquette had 8.5 inches. It was still snowing there. If you go down the list there, McMillan with about 5 inches. I've been through there before. Houghton picked up about 3.5 inches, and they were getting some pretty strong winds off of Lake Superior as well. And the Marquette downtown area almost always gets less snow than the airport up there. They picked up about 3 inches. Okay, the forecast then for the UP looks like this. In that yellow area there is where the heaviest snow is going to be, not at the immediate lakeshore. It occurs a little bit inland where the wind there will lift up over the mountains and or the hills. I don't know if you can call them mountains. I guess you can call them mountains. And that's why they have the higher totals there. But much of the UP is seeing a little bit of snow on the ground. We've seen some of the webcams up there, and it looks wintry, that's for sure. On we go. Take a look at the forecast from down in Illinois. And this is in the red color where the heaviest snow is going to be falling. Lake effect band coming on shore right at the shoreline there in Lake County. That's up north of Highland Park and goes up to around Waukegan. And then the band of snow will probably be heaviest in the southeast side of Chicago and across parts of Lake Porter and LaPorte counties, the first 3 counties there in northern Indiana. And this is going to be quite an event. There'll likely be some thunder and lightning with some of the heavier squalls. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody picked up 3 inches of snow in just 1 hour's time. There could be some power outages as well, and it'd be tough going on I-94. There's that going through that band of snow there in northern Indiana and far northeastern Illinois. Okay, we'll go on to the next one here and show you that Sunday's high temperatures were like this. Look at Grand Rapids down at 33 degrees. And like I said, I think we have to go back to March 1st or 2nd last year when we had a day that was that cold. That should be 29 for Battle Creek. Excuse me, it should be 32 for Battle Creek, Ionia, and Marshall. That was my fault. Benton Harbor and Muskegon, with the wind off the lake, did manage to reach 40. And the picture there shows a couple of fishermen, and they were out on the north breakwater there at South Haven. Pretty cold sitting out there, and you have to really be careful for the waves. Waves are going to stay fairly high here into the mid part of the week. Next slide, we'll show you the sunrise and sunset time, 7:28 on the sunrise, 5:23 in the evening was when the sun sets. That's when the last tip of the sun disappears over a totally flat horizon. 9 hours and 55 minutes of daylight. Our average low temperature dips another one today to 34. Record high 75 in 2022, and 16 the record low in 1957. If you look at the picture there, it's kind of interesting. That's the Muskegon Channel, and you're looking out over Lake Michigan toward the snow band, which is out over the lake. So it looks darker out there. Okay, next slide, and we'll take a look at what we have here for you. This is the lake forecast for Monday. Today, north to northwest winds 15 to 30 knots out over the open water. Waves will be increasing to 4 to 8 feet. We did not get a report from the Port Sheldon or South Haven buoys, and I'm wondering if Limnotech didn't bring those in for the winter. But we still got a water temperature from the Holland Channel, and Reed's Lake did make it down below 50 finally. Small craft advisories in effect for today. And if you look at that picture from yesterday afternoon, you can see that the water was coming over both piers on the left side there, over toward the edge of the picture, and also coming down the walkway there too. So be careful out there the next several days or so, because it will be rather windy. Taking a look at the Saturday severe map, there was one big severe thunderstorm that started out in southeastern Alabama and went across the Georgia-Florida border, and it produced 25 severe weather reports. 16 of them were severe hail, including a 2-inch in diameter hail that fell at Oaklawn, Georgia. That's pretty big hail for Georgia. Normally, to get big hail like that, you have to head out into the high plains. And there was a gust of 70 miles an hour near Decatur, Georgia. Severe weather today, well, the map looks mostly empty, but take a look at Lake Michigan. There may very well be lightning in that area there out over the lake and right along the shoreline in northeast Illinois, northwest Indiana especially. And also a chance for an isolated flash of lightning in eastern New England and also down in the Florida Keys. Taking a look at the, let's see, what do we have coming up here next? The 66-hour snowfall total. And as you can see, heavy snow is going to be falling downwind from all the Great Lakes. Now, this is a 3-day total. So when you wake up here in the morning, don't expect to find 6 inches of snow on the ground in most areas, but it looks like the heavy snow will be falling from Berrien County, Michigan, over to Cook County, Illinois, Chicago, across parts of the UP. East of Cleveland, Interstate 90 is going to have some rough spots there, and also over toward Rochester, New York. And also you can see a glob of heavy snow falling in the higher elevations of the mountains there in West Virginia, where it will be cold, and they will be seeing some pretty heavy snow as well. So if you're doing any driving about the area, those are the areas that you're going to have to watch out for. Let's zoom in a little bit and take a look at the West Michigan area, because we'll be able to see that what's going on there. There you can see the heavy snow in northeast Illinois. In fact, even far southeastern Wisconsin gets in on the snow. But basically, the wind will be out of the north, and it will be bringing that snow down toward Gary, Hammond, Munster, Michigan City. Those are the areas to look for the heavier snow bands. And that band will waffle back and forth, so it may stop snowing for a little bit and then start up again as the band shifts off toward the east. It will snow along the lakeshore here, but snowfall amounts will be much less. All right, our headline graphic, chance for snow showers today. Best chance to be near the lake and during the afternoon. It will continue to be cold. An icy spot is possible here this morning with temperatures down in the 20s. But milder weather is coming for later this week when temperatures ought to be back to the low 50s, and that will melt all of our snow. I'm pretty sure we'll get back to the mid to upper 50s maybe next week, and that we may be seeing an isolated temperature up close to 60 away from the lake. So we're not done with fall yet. It's not winter. All right, taking a look at the forecast for today. Look for temperatures to be stuck only in the low to mid 30s. And while there is a little bit of a chance of snow, there could be a period of partly sunny skies there as well. 23 here early this morning. That's pretty chilly. Humidity down to 60% in the afternoon. Winds northwest, they'll kick up to 10 to 18 miles an hour during the afternoon. High temperatures on the day today across the state of Michigan look like this. We'll be seeing readings mostly in the low to mid 30s. May touch 40 out over the open water of the lake out there, but that would even be a hard thing to do. Chicago, Gary at 35 today. If you're traveling over to Detroit, about the same. Off to the north, it may stay below freezing north of Houghton Lake. Gaylord gets a high temperature today of 29. That'll be the third day in a row with temperatures staying below freezing. And you can see the cold air, the dark blue colors on the map there on the right for upper Michigan. And then we move ahead to Tuesday, and it moderates a little bit. We're back up to 40 or better, and you can see the computer giving South Haven there 47. The snow's melting down at Gary, Indiana with 41. Temperatures off to the north are cooler, but well above freezing even up across the UP. So the 5-day forecast looks like this for today. A little bit of sun poking through, perhaps chance for snow showers, especially near the lake and in the afternoon. We're back to the low 40s here on Tuesday, still a chance for a snow shower. And we've got the chance of precipitation just 20% on Wednesday. If you got anything on Wednesday, it would likely be rain and not snow. And then a couple of sunny days coming up here, it looks like, for Thursday and Friday. Good weather for the Friday high school football playoff games. This temperature should be back up into the low 50s here during the afternoon. We're on a warming trend here as we head on through the week. Long-range outlook continues to bring us above average temperatures, and I think this is right. Cool out in the western United States and rather wet out there as well. But the milder air is expanding into the Great Lakes here. We'll take a look at the rainfall map that goes along with it. And that shows near to slightly above average precipitation here in the Great Lakes. Much of the country seeing ample rain. So all in all, not too bad a pattern as we head toward Thanksgiving. Hopefully we're going to see some dry roads for everybody that will be traveling here. Well, we got a lot to talk about here. This is really neat. Michelle and Alex made some graphics to show you about a number of different things. First of all, comment from Scott Merriman. I remember sitting in the gym during one of your presentations back around 1985. And I started those in 74. December 74 is my first speech at a school. And I think I've done about 1,000 of them over the course of my career here. Pine Creek Elementary, West Ottawa School District. Have to see if my parents still have the pics somewhere. We let balloons go. We did that at some of the schools where we let balloons go with a tag on them, and then people would send the tag back if they found them. If we would launch maybe 30 balloons, and we'd get maybe 3 or 4 of them back. But interesting to find out where our little balloon had traveled to. Thanks, Scott, for dusting off a memory there. And we have another comment, I believe. This is hello from Skokie, Illinois. That's right next door to Wilmette and Evanston, where I grew up. In fact, Skokie is just to the west of Evanston. Chicago is to the south. And so that was, I remember the first time I got to ride my bicycle all the way to Skokie. Skokie, by the way, is a Native American word. I think it's Potawatomi, and it means marsh. That area from downtown Chicago up along the North Shore there was a lot of marshy land. And so that's where the name Skokie came from. But thank you so much for that. Yeah, we're still going here. Kind of neat. And we have a hi from Zeeland. Zeeland is located just to the east or east-northeast of Holland, right along Chicago Drive or Interstate 196. Really nice town. They do a nice pumpkin fest during the fall time of year. Good schools there. I think I've been to all the schools there in Zeeland. But thanks for chiming in there, West Michigan. Appreciate that. And what else do we have here? We're going to, there we go. We're going to talk about the Edmund Fitzgerald, November 10, 1975. That was a big ship. It was over 700 feet long, if I remember right. The ship was launched in it was either 1958 or 1968. It carried iron ore from mines in Minnesota to ironworks plants in Detroit, specifically taconite pellets. And it was interesting because when the Edmund Fitzgerald sank, it wasn't carrying a perishable commodity. I mean, it could have found a port somewhere or a place behind an island where it could have sheltered during the storm. And when the storm let up, it could have continued its path. It didn't really have to get there in any hurry or anything like that. All right, we have another slide to share with you about the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's set out November 9, 1975, but then a November storm, and it supposedly had hurricane force winds. In fact, I think there was an unofficial report out from a ship of a wind of 75 knots, which would have been 85 miles an hour. I don't think the winds were forecast to be that high. That this was an amazing storm. Captain McSorley said that he had never seen seas like that before on Lake Superior or on any of the Great Lakes. Waves were up to 35 feet. It sank in Canadian waters near Sault Ste. Marie and also Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. All right, I think we have another slide to pass along about this. Yes, the exact cause of the sinking is still unknown. I'm thinking maybe that one of those 35-foot waves hit the front of the ship and another one hit the back of the ship. And what that did is it tended to lift the ship out of the water. And what happened was the middle of the boat just being lifted out of the water didn't have support, and it just cracked, because we know that the ship was found in two large pieces, and the ship is still down there in a little over 500 feet of water. If you remember the song the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Canadian folk singer, that was Gordon Lightfoot was his name, and I remember hearing Gordon Lightfoot do that song in Kalamazoo. To this day, the largest ship to have sunk on Lake Michigan. There were 29 lives lost when the Edmund Fitzgerald sank, and again, that was 50 years ago today. Let's move on, take a look and see what else we have here. That's a weather map from November 10, 1975, and you can see there was a very strong low-pressure system. It was continuing to intensify as it went right over the lake, and the wind initially was kind of out of the southeast, and then eventually it changed to as the low lifted off toward the north-northeast, the wind turned around to the west, and it would go all the way across Lake Superior without anything to really slow it down. So it was really a tragic storm. First of all, we were in the warm air here in Grand Rapids where temperatures hit the 60s. And then we had some very strong wind gusts here, particularly along the shoreline north of Muskegon. There were some gusts there, I believe, that were over 60 miles an hour. And it's a good thing the leaves were off the trees back then. But an amazing storm. Some November 10 birthdays. In 1483, Martin Luther, 16th century Protestant reformer, Of course, there are many Lutheran churches all across the United States and in Europe as well. But Martin Luther, born on this date in 1483. And I think we have some other information about November 10th, a special day. There we go. Sesame Street debuted on PBS. So let's see, if we do some quick math, that's 31 plus 25. That would be 56 years ago. I think Big Bird's getting a little old, but still going along strong. A lot of you remember growing up watching Sesame Street with Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch and Cookie Monster and a number of different guests that came in to interact with the puppets during the show. But we'll throw out a salute to Sesame Street, still going strong at 56 years old. All right, on this date in 1775, the United States Marine Corps was founded. It was founded at the Tun Tavern in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was a recruiting station. Now, would you recruit Marines? I don't know. It's interesting. Would you recruit Marines from a bar or tavern? I don't know. Why not? It was a recruiting station. Original recruiting was for a few good men. Disbanded after the end of the Revolutionary War, but was reestablished not too long afterwards in 1798. So Semper Fi, we salute the Marine Corps today on the anniversary of their founding in 1775. I think we have some pictures to share with you too here today. This is from Bernie Engels, Holland, Michigan. We still have flowers blooming out there. I checked this afternoon, and my geraniums, especially, which are right next to the house, are still. I don't know that they're going to make it through tonight, but they were still going, doing very well. And it's kind of interesting because my snowdrops usually start at the end of February, and with some of the mums hanging on and whatnot, sometimes I only go a couple of months without flowers in my yard during the winter. All right, thanks, Bernie, for that picture. And we have another picture here for you from John Kimball. This is from up at Mullet Lake with the moon shining over the water. I've never really seen the moon shining over Lake Michigan at night, and I kind of like to do that sometime. But right before the sun gets up, when it's still dark, when there's a full moon and a nice southerly breeze during the summertime. But pretty picture. We used to occasionally see the moon over the water on some of the lakes in Wisconsin. We'd go up there during the summertime. Thank you, John. And we have another one here for you from John Doherty, and this is a horse. I thought of a joke. There was a horse that got hurt and went to the hospital, and the horse turned out to be okay, so they listed him in stable condition. Bad joke. All right, I think that horse is going to be seeing a few snowflakes here during the day today, and so again, we want to keep in mind that especially right along the lakeshore, if you're heading down south of South Haven, keep an eye out for snow there. Do we have one more? I haven't seen the shot from John Scully yet. There it is. Look at that. And this, again, another really neat picture of the sun right a couple minutes after sunset, where it's shining underneath and illuminating the bottom of the clouds. And the clouds today, by the way, there was quite a variation of color from white to dark gray. It was really fun to watch. When I walk up at the athletic field, I see the clouds changing minute by minute up there when we have a sunset like this, because the sun sets fairly quickly in the wintertime here. So it shows that color for only a few minutes before it goes away. Well, I think we're done for today. A lot there to talk about. First of all, weather, and we talked about the Edmund Fitzgerald. Some of the radio stations probably playing the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald today, 50th anniversary of that, and maybe a story on the nightly news about that too. There's a look at my famous snow shot from this summer, July 22, north of Lake Louise in Canada. And we have some of that snow in our area here today. Well, thank you so much for staying with us here until the end. Have yourself a wonderful day, everybody.